Hey dear, Zoomzy here, and I am dressed specially for the occasion as a magical fairy elf creature because I am reviewing Ink and Sigil, a new urban fantasy spin-off series, and I have to say right off the bat, thank you to Netgalley and Random House for providing me with a free copy in exchange for an honest review so that I can give you guys the details for the best, and maybe, I didn't like this part about the book so much, so let's dive into the magic. The book is set in Scotland, and it follows a sigil maker named Al, who is blessed and cursed. He's cursed with the rare ability to make sigils, and he uses ink-based magic for that, but he is also cursed because whoever hears his voice begins to develop an intense hatred for him. So he has to use like texting and stuff to get around that. And then his life becomes even more complicated when all his apprentices just start dying. So he starts investigating into that, and he uncovers a magical creature trafficking plot. So I'm not going to go into any more details for that bit because that's spoiler territory, and I'm trying to keep this minor spoilers only. But you can imagine that it's difficult not being able to verbally talk to people. So I love hard magic systems where there's like a give and a take, and it makes things more interesting because characters have to get creative, and also it greatly affects Al's personal life. There's a little bit of backstory. We haven't gone as much into it yet, but he has an estranged relationship with his son, and then I imagine he has a deceased wife. There might be some unturned complications with his relationship with her. Okay, I do have to say that there's one character who stole my heart, who stole the show for me, and that is Nadia, the psychic goth lesbian wizard who kicks butt. Literally, because she is psychic, she's able to anticipate her opponent's moves, and I think that is an awesome way to strategically use psychic abilities in battle. And you have to know by now, if you've been following my channel, I love like Palm Siberia, who I consider also an honorary psychic goth. So I love that type of character. I can't say that I necessarily enjoyed the rest of the characters in this series, including the MC. I do appreciate that Al is an older, schwarmy grandpa who calls people wankers and tells people to shut your gob, and he's refreshing as a urban fantasy main character and refreshing to see. However, I did not feel his emotional connection and his motives into investigating his apprentices' deaths. I think part of that was like a tonal issue because it's told from his point of view, and everything is very tongue-in-cheek humor. We do get a few vulnerable moments when he's talking about his family members, and that part I found compelling. That part I would like to investigate. Like at one point I was taken back where he's like, I would travel to the underworld to get my wife back like Orpheus. And that would have created more tension. I would have felt the emotional stakes. So for me, the plot felt a little bit lukewarm because I didn't feel him compelled or caring about anyone aside his family and maybe Nadia. So I would like that explored later. This is a series, so as of now, I don't feel invested in the plot. Maybe down the road it'll get better, but I enjoyed the world building and the magic system. Like with the world building, it's based off of Celtic mythology, and you have to know, maybe partly because I am Scottish, that I love Celtic mythology. Like it feels familiar, but new and refreshing because there's new technology and you see magic and character combinations in new ways. But I honestly don't see myself continuing with this series at this point unless I hear there's a turn and he starts doing things that motivates him more. It's very comedic based. So if that's your cup of tea and you love like a heavy Scottish feeling, then go for it. I still do love dark comedies, like with Pushing Daisies or Doro Hedoro, where people die, but because they have emotional connections and there's necromancy, it still feels lighthearted, but there's heart to it. And for this series, honestly, I did not get the heart. But if you plan on rating this series, or if you have any other recommendations for good urban fantasy stories, let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the flip side.